What's up, homies and homettes, ladies and gents, friends, Romans, countrymen, Germanic tribes? Wow. And all parties from here to the Danube. Stand your ground law. Stand your ground law. What does it mean? This is concerning all of us, even though the most recent case is the deadly shooting that happened in Florida. And the man was not arrested. And then the family was like, oh, but no, see, we're going to take to the streets. And they did. And they did exactly what peaceful protest is all about. They are the pinnacle of peaceful protest. Because you can have a peaceful protest that will speak volumes, and it can also slow down traffic, which slows down people's money. And it makes you get noticed because it's like, no, we're going to walk in the middle of the street until you hear what we have to say and we get some type of justice. Now, this is just the beginning because this can be all smoke and mirrors. They finally arrested the man who shot the African-American father of three in front of his 5-year-old and his girlfriend, and the 2 other kids were in the car. All over a parking space. His girlfriend at the time was parked outside, pretty much just waiting on him. They were just going to run in and run out. That's pretty much what it looks like. 2 kids were in the back. She was still in the driver's seat. And the Florida man, who was white, parked in front of the store and confronted the woman who was in the handicap spot. Now, before I continue, people are very sensitive about the handicap spots because they're for handicapped people. And that's it, and that's all. There is a law that clearly states, do not park here. This is why the sign is here. It's for handicapped. Was the woman handicapped? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think she was. But let's not act like that's not an issue, because it is an issue. Because there is a law that says who can park here and who can't. And if you don't have a handicap in your mirror or right under your mirror or somewhere where it can be seen, then legally you're not allowed to park there. So there is a legal issue with her being there. Now, the man who walked up, which is Michael, okay, so let's listen to some of the story before I continue.
New developments in that stand your ground case, a man shooting and killing a father over a parking dispute. The sheriff at first refusing to arrest the shooter, but now prosecutors charging him with manslaughter. ABC's Victor Oquendo has more from Coral Gables, Florida. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Michael. And this morning, Michael Drejka is in jail being held on $100,000 bond after state prosecutors reviewed the case, as well as 2 prior incidents involving the improper exhibition of firearms, and decided to charge him with manslaughter.
The fatal shooting caught on surveillance outside a Florida convenience store in July. Michael Drejka from the ground firing and killing Marquise McLaughlin in what he called self-defense. At the time of the killing, Drejka walking away without any charges. But this morning, a Florida prosecutor says this was manslaughter.
When I got the news today, obviously I was happy. I was ecstatic about it, but I'm just sorry that it took so long.
McLaughlin was inside the store.
All right, I want to stop right there for a second. Mind you, they said citing improper use of a firearm. Okay, so I'm not a lawyer, but we're seeing a lot of these cases where people are being shot and killed. And a lot of them are high, not so much high profile as in these people are in some type of status position, but because high profile, because it's black and white, and we know that black and white people are going at it real tough right now. Now, improper use of a firearm is a charge. And I'm saying that to say that if Michael Draka is charged with manslaughter, okay, so when you go to jail or when they indict you, they over indict you to try to get a longer sentence on you. It's crooked as heck, but they do that. So they bring up all these charges that are associated with what they think you did and what they can see what you did. This is what we know you did, but there are a bunch of other charges that goes with it. It's just like, when you order, a cheeseburger, you don't just get the cheese, you get the, all kind of stuff that goes with it. It just goes with it. And then you can pick it apart and find out, really get to the meat of the issue. I hate to sound corny, but it really is the way it goes. So you get over indicted. Now I'm saying that to say, at the end of the day, even though he's charged with manslaughter, there's first, second, and I think there's third degree. I think I'm not an attorney, but nonetheless, he could be charged with he could be sentenced with a few different things here. They're looking to try to put him in for 30 years. This is what the family wants. But he can just get improper use of a firearm, which is a lesser sentence. So, brace yourself for impact, because I'm not sure about all of the stand the ground laws, but I'm going to look that up in a few. But I just wanted to say, if they're talking about it and they're saying these other charges, then they could plead to a lesser charge and he could walk out of there. Right now he's on $100,000 bond. I'm telling you, he could be out of there and be on probation for 10 years. And that's that.
Buying snacks with his son. His girlfriend, Brittany Jacobs, was parked outside with her 2 other children. Draka approached Jacobs, berating her about parking in a handicap spot. When McLaughlin returns, he shoves Draka to the ground, then steps back. Seconds later, Draka pulls it.
So he pushed Draka to the ground. And then the 48-year-old white guy pulls out I don't know what it is, a deadly weapon, and he fires it once into the African-American male's chest. This is all on World Star. But nonetheless, I'm picking it apart because this is what prosecutors are going to do. This is what the defense is going to do. They're seeing the stand your ground law. They're going to try to figure out what was it. See, when they first looked at this, they said he stood his ground. He got pushed down. He came out, boom, and he shot the man. He stood his ground. He's not getting charged. But the police aren't attorneys. They don't know the law as in depth as attorneys do. That's why you go to school to be an attorney. So attorneys saw this and they were just like, oh, we're charging him. He's getting ready to go to jail. Okay, we're going to charge this man because this is what we see. And according to the law that we know, this right here, he ran afoul of the law. Okay, so I'm speculating when I'm looking at this. Draka is on the ground and he pretty much in a sit-up position and he's firing up. The African-American male is probably 2 or 3 feet away from him. The way I'm looking at this is he's getting charged with manslaughter simply because the African-American male is pretty much walking away when he gets shot. Now, there has been plenty of other cases where the individual is walking away and then somebody does something to them and they say, hey, it was self-defense, and it wasn't because the person was walking away. And I'm just speculating, but I'm assuming that this is where Draka ran afoul. He should never have shot that man and killed him. He shouldn't have shot him at all. What he should have did was stood up and then tell him he has a firearm, which I think is what you're supposed to do. I have a firearm. But the other guy was already walking away from him. So I think in the prosecutor's eyes, the confrontation was over with. It wasn't like you two were struggling like Zimmerman, who I think should, go to jail forever. But it wasn't like you two were struggling. Zimmerman shot a 17-year-old kid, a grown man, tracked down a 17-year-old kid and shot him because he was losing a fight. And then he claimed stand your ground. Didn't that happen in Florida? Okay. So I'm thinking that this case is going to be kind of like the Zimmerman case. I'm hoping not, because I still want Zimmerman to go to jail forever, but that's not going to happen. But he's his own worst enemy. But if this looks so much like that, even though the other man is, he isn't 17. And I'm sad to say this, but well, I'm not going to wish nothing bad. Well, I don't wish anything bad, but this looks too Zimmerman-ish to me. So let's listen to some more.
His gun and opens fire. The father of 3 seen here stumbling back into the store. His 5-year-old watching die.
It's a memory that's always going to be with my 5-year-old.
Yeah, he died right in front of him. You guys can watch this on World Star Hip Hop, but I wanted to get some information on that and just to try to educate ourselves on the Stand Your Ground law. Now I'm going to look up the actual Stand Your Ground law and see if I can find it and get some info on it. Stand Your Ground law. And I'm assuming that it's going to vary from state to state. Here's Wikipedia. Stand Your Ground case turns into manslaughter. All right, I'm going to read from Wikipedia. I don't have an encyclopedia in front of me. Wikipedia is not the best thing to reference yourself to because people can go on here and change it. And I don't have, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't got my JD, but I'm looking to get one. Stand Your Ground law, sometimes called line in the sand or no duty to retreat law. No duty to retreat law is a justification in a criminal case. So you're justifying yourself with this terminology of I shot this person because I stood my ground or I drew a line in the sand. Now, if we just take that terminology, a line in the sand, which is cross this line and I'm going to protect myself by any means necessary. You cannot say that when somebody is no longer engaging with you. You can't pull out a weapon and shoot them when the engagement is over. I think this is why he got charged. But once again, I'm not an attorney. Okay, in this criminal case, in a criminal case, whereby defendants can stand their ground and use force without retreating in order to protect and defend themselves or others against threats or perceived threats. Once again, Draco was no longer in any danger when the other gentleman was walking away, which he was. He pushed him down and he walked away. All right, so an example is where there is no duty to retreat from any place where they have a lawful right to be, and that they may use any level of force if they reasonably believe the threat rises to the level of being an imminent and immediate threat of serious bodily harm and or death. If somebody is walking away from you, none of that applies. And you can look this up. It's Dawkins versus the state. And then it goes on. The court describes the Stand Your Ground law provides that a person has a right to expect absolute safety in a place they have a right to be, and may use deadly force to repel an intruder. For a person to be justified in using deadly force, the person must not be engaged in unlawful activity. So Draco cannot be cannot run afoul of the law and then shoot somebody who confronted him because he was doing something against the law. Here's the thing. Drake is the one who started the confrontation. Even though the woman was just waiting a couple minutes for her 5-year-old and her, baby daddy, okay? The man she has 3 kids with, you know what I'm saying? The love of her life, okay? Somebody she loves, and they got 2 kids in the back. They're just stopping by just to get something for the little 5-year-old because, they like the snack. And we just decided to run to the store. We weren't even thinking about the handicap sign. This happens all the time. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. We were just going in to grab a snack. It isn't like everybody was out of the car and the car was just loitering there. It's like we're still in the car. The car's probably still on and we're just waiting for them to come out. We're very sorry. If somebody walks up and says, hey, or if somebody pulls up and says, hey, I'm handicapped, can I park here? Or something like that. Or if Drake even said, hey, can I park here? But he already had a parking space that was even more in front of the store. So he chose to get into a confrontation with someone who wasn't thinking about him just because he wanted to cite the law that you're in a parking space that you're not supposed to be in, but it's really none of my business. It's not my business because I'm not handicapped. I have no need for this space right here. So really, I shouldn't be saying anything. Or if I did say something, it should be, this is a handicapped space, which I'm sure the young lady did know. She's completely cognizant of, what she was doing because she was the driver. Okay. So I think they're pretty much going to say this guy was in the wrong for even saying something to you and then starting the confrontation. And he was very confrontational because he walked right up to the side of the car. And he started, I don't know if he used expletives, but nonetheless, he was confrontational. So when I'm reading this says that you can't be doing something against the law and then claim to stand your ground. Starting an argument, is that against the law? I mean, is it? You know what I'm saying? Starting a fight, starting something that will lead to a confrontation. Is that a gray area or is that not against the law? If you walk up to somebody and start a confrontation, is there a law that says you can't do that? If you start a fight, is there a law that says you started a fight, you're in trouble with the law, you ran afoul with the law? Is there or isn't there? Because if there is, then guess what, Michael? You're the one who cannot stand your ground. You nullified your own defense by starting the commotion. You know what I'm saying? You're the one who initiated the brouhaha. And then you shoot a man who comes to defend his woman and 2 kids. Like, what did you expect was going to happen? See, you didn't know that she wasn't alone. But nonetheless, this man, does he have the right to come into the defense of his children and his woman? Who has more right here? Who is more in the right? Or who has the legal right here? That's where it's coming down to. Who has more legal right here? Does Draco have more legal right to confront this woman? Or does a young man who was shot, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, but he'll always be up here because this is terrible. Does he have the right to defend? Does he have the right to stand his ground according to this law because someone was coming to do harm against his family? Is he standing his ground? Whose ground is more legally, right or wrong here? That's where this is kind of going. Now, this is, like I said, this is on Wikipedia. I'm not going to read the rest of it, not unless somebody says read the rest of it. But you guys can go on, and I'm just saying this is what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, I hope it's not a Zimmerman case because to me, Zimmerman, that whole case, that judge shouldn't have never been there to, to judge that case because I think there was some relatives of him all in there and it was just wrong. And Zimmerman is a murderer. He is a bold-faced, lying piece of crap, weak. He's a very weak person. He's a weak, pure, lame excuse for a man. He is a weak person to slaughter a child and then cry, about he was getting beat up because he was getting beat up by a 17-year-old. All right? You are a weak man. You should have fought him head up because you tracked him down. That, he didn't track you down. He was eating Skittles and walking away. All right? Trayvon Martin was minding his own business. And you got handled, Zimmerman, and then you killed him because you're a coward. All right? So, anyways, I'm hoping that this doesn't go the way of the Zimmerman case. And then a bunch of black people idolize him after that. Because that's what they did to Zimmerman. He's a celebrity. How is Zimmerman a celebrity? Black people, I don't get it. I don't get it. Because if a black person did it, you guys would want to hunt them down and make rap videos about how you did all this to their family. But because, he's not, you guys don't have nothing. You got nothing. So, anyway, so stand your ground law. Let's see what happens. I'm seriously hoping that they get justice. I hope this man goes to jail forever. I think he provoked the whole incident. And I think he meant to shoot. I think he was looking for an excuse. And I think that this happened because of the Zimmerman case. You have a lot of people, white people, who've been shooting black people and then citing stand your ground. And where it's not even close. Like the young lady who was lost, 20-something-year-old, very young, came to a stranger's door, knocked on the door because she was, I guess she wrecked her car or whatever, and she was just looking for help. And the man didn't answer the door, and she turned around and walked away, and he shot her through the door. And then claimed some self-defense when his life was nowhere near in danger. Because they thought that he could get away with it. He tore that beautiful young lady up. And she was walking away. He just shot and killed her through the door. Just blew her away. Made no sense. Go to hell forever. For all day ever. Go to hell. Burn in hell. That's the way I'm looking at it. Evil bastard. Now, there are some cases where stand your ground law is absolutely, I don't care what color you are. If, somebody's with their kids and their, baby mom, whoever they family, they love them. They have the right to come and knock you down if you confront one of them. That's all. They have the right to knock you clean on your ass. And it doesn't matter what color. What matters is who ran afoul of the law. So I just wanted to get that out there, and I'm going to be following the story. If you guys got any comments now, you can ask me some questions, and I will go ahead and start researching some more of this if you want to know more about the law. That was on Wikipedia once again. Wikipedia, when we do research papers, you can't use Wikipedia because people can go in there and change it. However, it still gives you something to look at, some basis to look at until you go and whip out a revised code. And if you don't know what that is, every state has a revised code. So in our case, it's the ORC, the Ohio Revised Code. If you want to know what the law is on something, you look up the revised code in your state and, you go through, especially when it's revised, because there are some things that were missing or they added to it or they took away from. This is no longer applicable or applicable. they change the law, and if you can find out when a law was promulgated, and when the next law changed, because that's important, because you may have a variation of that law, and you need to find out when that law was promulgated, because meaning when that law came into play, when they activated the law. So you can have a law that especially something like a tax law, very important, because most of us don't know tax laws. We don't care. All we know is W-2 and 1099 and a couple other things. The majority of us, we go to work, it takes the taxes out. We're just like, this much money is being taken away from me that I earned. We don't really dip that far into it. But tax laws change all the time. So if you're someone who, let's just say you bought a house, and there may be a tax law, state, city, county, federally, that has made a change on owning property within that area. Something may have happened where the tax law has gone up, or the tax law, or you're getting a tax break, but you're paying more. But there is now a promulgated tax break for single mothers of 5 children and under. You know what I'm saying? And it's a law that if this person uses this tax break on their next taxes, that they will get a $200 rebate, or however that goes. But if you don't know about it, then you can't use it. So that's what I'm saying. There are tax laws is good for, when did this come into play? Is it last year? Because when is it coming into play? When is it going to be promulgated? That type of thing. You need to, if you're making a change in your life, if you're moving to a condo, those type of things, start looking up some of the tax laws, and you may be able to catch a break or something like that. And it's tedious and it's a lot of reading, but nonetheless, it can save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Things along that line. And also, criminal law there's different criminal laws always being changed, and especially because of high profile cases. Once again, these people don't necessarily have to be famous. It's just that the nation is watching to see what's going to happen. And then you start seeing an uptick in the same type of crime if the one who instigated the crime got away with it. You start seeing an uptick of that. You start seeing an uptick in police shooting people because Darren Wilson got away with it. And he got $250,000 by a GoFundMe, whatever that is online. He got $250,000. People were just like, we're starting to GoFundMe for him. He shot Michael Brown. He lost his pension, and he fought to keep the pension. Then he got fired. And so, okay, he lost in civil court. He won in criminal court. So now we're going to start a GoFundMe. And he got $250,000. And when that became public, you start seeing more and more killings. Wait a minute, you lost your job and you got $250,000 for shooting a Black person? That put a target on everybody's head. It really did. Listen, shortly after that, there was a cop, I forgot what city he was in. What he did was faked his own shooting and blamed it on a Black person. This really did happen. It was shortly after that case, because it was a high-profile case, and everybody saw it. The nation saw it. The nation braced itself for, are we going to put this person in jail or not, even though we really knew what was going to happen. And Wilson was on CNN and all this other stuff. People were arguing. People were fighting physically over it. It's wrong and this, that, and the third. And other people were just like, he should have killed him. He was a thug because he had no criminal record, and he took some Swisher Sweets, which actually he didn't steal the Swisher Sweets, because he had a deal with the guy who was behind the counter. And he got upset with him because the guy reneged. Hey, good evening, because the guy reneged who was behind the counter. That store is in his hood, and all those kids, run in there and deal with those people all the time. And those people behind the counter are guilty. A lot of them are doing criminal stuff you don't even know about. But Michael Brown took some swishers, and all of a sudden he's this criminal, and he should have gotten murdered. Like, it's like, how did you people get that? Okay, so anyway, like I said, the Michael Brown case, but so what this other police officer did after he saw what happened to Michael Brown, and he saw that Darren Wilson got $250,000, even though he lost his pension. What did he do? He went out, wrecked his car, shot his own police car up, and then shot himself, and then called back to control and yelling and screaming and act like he was in a firefight. He really did. And when they rolled up on him, they saw he was injured. They saw his car has holding it, and he said it was a black guy who did it. It's a white cop who did this, who really did. He said it was a black guy who did it. And which way did he go? He went this way, and he acts like he's dying and all this stuff. They get him to the hospital, and then the police start looking at the bullet holes that are in this man's car, and then kind of looking at his revolver, because now you're under investigation. They're going to count the bullets. They know how many bullets you left with. And then they start looking at what kind of bullets was in the windows and what kind of bullets was in the side of the car and inside of you, you dumbass. They all came from your gun. A weapon has a fingerprint on it, just like your regular fingerprint, just like your computer has a fingerprint. A weapon has a fingerprint on it. This is why the government is trying to shut down those plastic guns that people are making at home, because they're non-traceable. And they found out that the dude did it himself and blamed it on the black man. But here's the real problem. That story went nationwide. So now you got police even more mad at black men because they think that one of their own just got shot. So now you got more murders happening because this asshole wanted to be greedy. So that's what I mean by some of these cases that are high profile. It's not because these people were, in a high position, highfalutin position. It's simply because the whole nation is watching to see what's going to happen. And it has a ripple effect, whether you believe it or not. And I think that this came from, this guy shooting him came from the Zimmerman case. Matter of fact, I would be very sure that it came from a Zimmerman case, because there were some murders that black people did that came from the Zimmerman case. When Zimmerman got away with that, there were some people who looked at white people and said, we're going to get you back. And the reason why how I know this is because some of those guys who got caught, I think it was a Detroit case, when Detroit, these two white dudes in, I think it was Detroit, they came into the city, into the hood, looking for drugs. And the two guys that got a hold of them took them and did some heinous crimes to them and murdered them. And then after that, after they did that, they were being sentenced, and the guy stood up and said, he didn't apologize to the family. He stood up and said, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and he named a couple other people's names, and he said Black Lives Matter and walked away. You can't tell me that wasn't in retaliation to what Zimmerman did and or all the other murders that's been happening with the police. You can't tell me that. Those guys made it plain and simple. They was like, Black Lives Matter, and rolled out. I think it was in retaliation. And I think this case here is in retaliation. But like I said, I read only half of the Stand Your Ground laws. Like, if you guys want me to read the rest of it, I can read the rest of it and try my best to interpret what I think it is. Like I said, I am not an attorney. So, I don't have an encyclopedia of all the laws and stuff like that, but I can tell you that when you start looking at these cases and start following them over the years, you'll see a common thread. And then when you listen to the court cases and how they use particular pieces of information and then they exploit it, they blow that up and say, because forgot what that guy's name is. The guy who got shot in his car and he had a gun. He had a registered weapon. He had a gun, and he told the cop, I have a registered weapon. I have a gun. And the cop says, don't pull it out. You know what I'm saying? He's like, okay, but the cop tells him to get his driver's license out. Philando Castillo. So he goes to get his driver's license out, and the cop says, don't pull it out, don't pull it out, and he shoots him. It's like, well, do you want my driver's license or not? So here's the thing. In that case, people were like, well, he shouldn't have never said he had a gun. You're wrong. Because if he would have got frisked and they would have found the gun, they would have automatically assumed that it was illegal. If they would have dragged him out the car and put him on the ground, they could have shot him simply because they found out that he had a gun. And the reason why I know it, because it happened here in Ohio. It was a young man that the police grabbed, dragged out of the car, put in handcuffs, put him on his back, and shot him in the back and killed him and got away with it. Why? Because he feared for his life. Why? And I don't even think this guy had a gun. So I'm just telling you that they are skewing the law because they're saying they fear for their life. So Philando Castillo was like, I have a gun. If the gun was illegal, he wouldn't have never said, I have a gun. The same thing happened in the not Minnesota, even though there was a murder case in Minnesota with the police. They shot a guy with a screwdriver in his hand. There was another case where the young man, because I remember his brother was crying because he said he had a registered gun. You told us we could have a registered weapon, but as soon as they said gun, they blew him away. Now, in this other case, Clarkson or something like that, the guy who was breaking in the windows, and then he ran to his grandmother's house, and he tried to jump over the fence, and they said he had a phone in his hand, but it was a gun, and they shot him 20 times. Those police are terribly guilty. For one, they did not know he had a gun in his hand. A gun is not a phone, okay? Not only that, they couldn't see. So you can't assume, okay, here's a third factor to that. He was running away from you. So we have two other cases. Yeah, they shot and killed him. And they were asking questions while he was laying dead. Are you okay? We need to call an ambulance, him and that goofy white chick. I hope they both burn in hell. Only that, in Pittsburgh, not even a month ago, 17-year-old kid was running away from the cop. That cop was brand new, and he wasn't even on the force for 3 hours. And he turned around and shot that kid outside of the car. He was sitting in the car, rolled his window down, pow! Shot that kid in the back. You can't tell me that the Darren Brown case has not affected what these police are doing. You cannot tell me that. Darren Brown getting money after he was said to be not guilty. These guys are getting paid to slaughter people. And just recently, another case. The police was chasing, this happened 1, 2, 3 times just recently. Police was chasing this one guy, was chasing him down, and stopped, boom, blew him away right in the back. And it was like he had a gun. I was like, we didn't see no gun. Another case, this guy standing on a corner with his kid, police roll up on him, he takes off running. He did have a gun, but did he point it at the cop? They're trying to say he pointed it at the cop. I'm like, you chased this guy for 800 yards or more. If he wanted to shoot at you, he would have done it as soon as you approached him. You know what the guy was saying as he was running? Leave me alone. Your life was never in danger. You shot him simply because he had a gun. Another case, black cop shot this guy. Climbing over he was chasing him. Guy tried to climb over the fence. Boom, shot him. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. Where is it? They had to look to search, where is this notorious gun? Where is it? Happened here in Columbus, Ohio about a year ago. The guy had a gun. The guy's running away from you. See, they always use have a gun, but they don't say the gun was properly registered. So having a gun is a crime, but the gun was properly registered. It's a registered gun. It's called the Second Amendment. Yet they have a gun and they're running away from you and you shoot and kill them. You can't tell me that that's right. How do you fear for your life when you're chasing someone? How does that go? I'm afraid of you, so I'm going to chase you. I think I'm going to pursue you. I'm going to pursue you, and but I'm afraid of you. It just doesn't work like that. So these guys are all liars, and God is going to throw them in the devil's hell because they're lying. Now, we've had some cases recently where a man wanted to get killed by the police. And the police kept saying, I don't want to shoot you. But nevertheless, they shot and killed him anyway because he came at them with a knife. Here's the thing. Another video came out 2 days ago. Same issue, but it was a girl, and she was like, shoot me then. And she had a screwdriver. You know, they shot her, but you know where they shot her? In the leg. She went down screaming. They did a little thing, turned the kid on her. Boom, she's still alive today. The black dude that they shot could have did the same thing. You'd have shot him in his kneecaps. He's not going nowhere. They tried to tase him. I gave him that. But recently they had a white guy and they used paintball on him. Crazy guy, you know, stripping and whatnot. They used paintball on him. And another guy, they used bean bags on him. Another white dude, they used bean bags on him. It's not fair. Everybody can have a gun but us. This is true. That's the whole point. They used beanbag on this other white guy. Straight beanbag. It's just like beanbag ready. This is what they said. Beanbags hurt coming at you that fast. Nonetheless, it's just like you could have knocked this dude out. There were what, 1, 2, 3 of you? But you completely shoot to kill. You could have shot him in both legs. That man would be alive today. He just would not be walking. But you shoot him in the chest. You shoot him in the head. Those are all you meant to kill him. Now, we've been listening to cases where people keep talking about police need more training. Police don't need more training. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear nobody else talking about police need more training. Those police are very cognizant of what they're doing. They know the system. They don't need more training. They're doing exactly what they want to do. They don't need no more training at all. There's people who've been on the force all their lives and never pulled out the revolver. Then there's guys who've been on the force for 3 hours and kill a 17-year-old boy. It's not the training. Not when you go to Florida, and in Florida, they have the police training with pictures of black men's faces, and they're shooting them. So Pavlov's Law. I mean, if you never heard, Pavlov's dog, if you don't know who Pavlov is, Pavlov was this psychiatrist or whatever the hell he was. And he said, if I take a dog and I keep the dog in a cage and I hold up a piece of meat and I ring the bell, every time this dog hears the bell, he's going to salivate because he's going to associate the bell with the piece of meat. His name was Pavlov. Yeah. And so what he would do was he would have a piece of meat, ring the bell. Piece of meat, ring the bell. Then finally he would ring the bell and the dog would salivate because he thinks he's going to see a piece of meat. It's the same thing. You have pictures of black men's faces that you're shooting at in a range. What do you think you're going to do when you get out on the street? See, I don't want to hear about training because they're training to kill black people. Well, a black officer gave me this dent in my head, cracked my ribs, broke my finger. Black officers don't, they're the worst. Hit me 8 times with a billy club, cracked my skull. I hate black cops too. I hate black bad cops. I hate bad cops. Good cops, I don't hate them. I just don't have nothing to do with them. I'm not interested in having anything to do with them except do your job. But bad cops, I hate. That's just that. Good cops, thank you for doing your job. Thank you very much. You know, bad cops have no love for you. So there's that. What needs to happen is whether white, black, brown, Indian, whatever your nationality is, the people need to vote for you to be a police officer and protect them. That hasn't happened since 1949. The people you see now are corporate goons because corporations run the court system. They run the jail system, and they get money through the government to keep people in jail. That's why when people say land of the free, I often wonder, what are you talking about? Because there are how many people in jail? Over 2 million. There's more people in jail in the United States than there are in any other country. Any other. Yeah, they get off on it. Cop just retired. Black cop. You see that on World Star 2 days ago? Young dude. Standing there purposely confronted another black man, and the black man wasn't having it. And the cop just started swinging on him like he was a prize fighter. You know what I'm saying? And took the guy down. Now we know the law. We know if we swing on you, oh, we're going to jail for a long time. You can't touch a police officer. You can't look at them the wrong way. You just can't, because they have the right to kill you. And that's what we all know. Black man's life is not valuable. It's just not. Nobody takes value in our lives. Just another black man dead. Who cares? Oh, for one, the Lord cares because he created us. You may not care because we're not important to you, but the Lord, who's over all of us, cares for us. That's what he does. So well, there's a lot of white people being shot too. So there's definitely a lot of white people who are being shot. And like the white lady who was shot came from Australia. Wasn't even here that long. Black cop shot her. He wasn't black. He was some kind of foreign Eritrean or something. Blew her away. Yeah, they were overseers. Overseer, officer, same thing. Oh, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you all day, Nicole. All day. I've been hunted by them all my life. This is why I have a great disliking for them, because they've been harassing me all my life. All of it. Even when I was in the service, the MPs would put me in handcuffs and beat me up. It just, all my life. They are trained to hate us. So, what happened to the woman? What was I saying? I'm sorry. My mind went straight to the military, and I worked for the MP unit. They hated me because I was a cook. and because I was black. White. What was I talking about? Woman. Oh, the white woman from Australia. Okay, so this happened 6 months ago or so. White woman called the police. Called the police. Forgot what it was for. But when she called the police showed up. This guy was he wasn't black, but he was brown. And what I'm saying is he wasn't an African American. He was some type of Eritrean or whatever, Somalian maybe. Anyways, he was a cop. And she walked over to the car and she was explaining to them what had happened because they were still in the car. They didn't even get out the car. So he was the driver. She walked over to the passenger side. They pulled up on the curb. She walked over to the passenger side and was, talking in the car, explaining what happened. And as she was explaining, looked away, the officer in the driver's side took his revolver out and cross-bodied, shot this woman. Boom, killed her, point blank range. Point blank range. She was white. That really did happen. It's on World Star. She is from Australia. Dusted her off. Mid-30s. Didn't commit a crime. Shot her. He got sentenced, but I don't know what he got. Like, I'm sure it's manslaughter. I don't know how long. I know he went to jail, but I don't know for how long. But because he could. Everybody asks, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? It's simply because he could. That's it. Because he had the power to do it. So he did it. Shot her dead. He said, so what? You know why? Because he's a cop. And he has seen other cops shooting people. He was like, they can shoot my people. They can just roll up and shoot my people. Why can't I shoot one of theirs? So he just shot her. She didn't threaten him. She was no threat. She had no weapon. She wasn't even the assailant of whatever was going on. She was the one who called the police. Now, remember 2 years ago, a black woman called the police on her son, teenager, getting loud, acting up. She's like, oh, I'm calling the police because your father's not here. I'm just speculating. But she's like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm tired of it. I'm calling the police. As soon as she did, she signed her death warrant. The police rolled up. She opened the door. They shot her, killed her. Point blank range. That's it. They feared for their life. I don't know what they was afraid of. They're not fearing for their lives. They're trying to go on vacation. Yep, that happened 2 years ago. Did those police officers go to jail? Nope. As soon as she opened the door, they blasted her ass. Go to jail? They got paid leave. Yeah, he watched his mom get slaughtered. I'm sure that wasn't his intent. I'm sure he wasn't like, yeah, Mom, I want to see you dead. That's because I'll be clowning. Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't trying to see his mom, dead. He was probably acting out like teenagers do. Oh yeah, they rocked her. Like it was nothing. Like it was a turkey shoot. Now you was talking about a law, right? What law it is that allows them to shoot us? There's a few of them. One of them is they don't think that we're human. They think that we're animals. They liken us to gorillas and apes. And so they think our intelligence is low, and or we came from gorillas and apes. And because we're not human and they are, and we're animals, they not only have the right to us as property, they have the right to kill us. That's one of the laws that's still out there. We are property. That's when we got here, what were we? Property. A dog is a man's property. If a man wishes to put that dog down, what do? Take it out back and they shoot it. A horse is a man's property. If a horse breaks its leg, they think it's merciful to shoot the horse in the head because it's their property. Regardless of the horse saying, you know what, I'll be fine. Shoot, man, this ain't nothing. Man, you just give me a day. Give me a couple days. Give me a couple days. Give me about 3 days, man. I'll be all right. They think they're doing the horse a favor. And they shoot the horse and kill it. Well, that's two different cases. The black cop who beat up the man retired. He was a young dude. He's just like, I'm out. He didn't want to go to internal affairs and all that they're going to drag him through. He's done. He left the force. The man beat up the man, and the agent nailed people that beat up those innocent black people. We have a recent case of the nail. There's another case where a guy hit this woman right in the face, but she pushed his face first. So he retaliated and punched her right in the lip and busted her whole lip. That just happened like yesterday. You know more about the details of that than I do. Oh yeah, another one. Yeah, it's on World Star. Yeah, this lady was arguing something with her kids. And she was, arguing with the guy outside of the nail salon. And another woman was filming it. And, while she was walking away, she checked his face like something pushed his face. He retaliated and just bloodied her all this, bloodied. She just sitting there bleeding, her whole face busted. One hit. Put your hands on nobody. I still don't like what he did at all. I'm like, that's excessive like a month, but you can't ask somebody to retaliate the same way that you initiate. His retaliation was, I'm gonna bust your lip. Put your hands on me, I'm gonna bust your lip. I wouldn't know. I don't indulge. I'll be like, yeah, man. Busted her whole front. She's just there bleeding, looking at the dude like, dang, I can't believe you hit me. He's probably thinking, he just walked away like, hey, you shouldn't have hit me. I don't know about that story. But then you got the girls who walked in the Lululemon. How about those girls? The Lululemon girls about a week and a half ago. Straight up Lululemons. Oh yeah. They was like, oh, I'm gonna get me some of these Lululemons. Yeah. Yeah, the Lululemon girls. They about that. I don't even know if they caught those girls. They walked in broad daylight. Lululemon shop, Lululemons cost a lot. A lot. They walked in broad daylight. They stole Lululemons. Workout equipment. Tights and stretchy tights and stuff that make your butt look fat and all this stuff like that. They stole them all. They just walked right in and stole them. 3 girls just rolled right in there. The clerk girl just looked. There was another black girl in there. When she saw all 3 of them come in, she just stepped back and she headed out the door because she was just like, nope, I already know what this is. I'm not getting involved. And they had 3 bags and they filled up all their bags and the clerks just watched them do it. And then rolled out. And then you got the Apple store. A couple guys ran in the Apple store. Again, then dashed out, knocked the dude over on the way out. Boom. There's just been so many robberies. Yesterday, these 3 young dudes decided to rob a food truck. The little food truck, you get your little burritos and stuff. Robbed them. Yeah, people robbing folk everywhere, man. I don't want to get no gun, man. I don't like guns. But these young dudes is running up on everybody. They ain't got no respect for nobody. Now I can see you busting somebody's whole ass. They run up on you with a gun, talking about some give me my whatever. Like the dude in a convenience store about 3 weeks ago. He ran up and tried to rob these people in the convenience store, and they caught him. He wasn't nothing but this dude couldn't have weighed more than $150, literally. He gonna have a hard time in jail because they caught him. He didn't even get out. He didn't get any money. He didn't even get out the store. The people in the store bum rushed him. And when I say he can't be more than 150 pounds, he can forget it in jail because you had an illegal weapon. That's 5 years right there. Strong arm robbery. He's probably gonna be in for 10 to 25. Just dumb. Yeah, there's a cop. There's a police officer over here. He always stares at me whenever I come in. I'm like, that's why y'all be getting robbed by white people. Because y'all always think the black person did it. And while y'all watching me, the white person is busy robbing y'all. Well, these guys didn't. That's because it's expensive. That yaki? These girls be like flossing with that yaki on. Out of here. I had a couple girls that had that on, wearing wigs and wearing that. They saw the look on my face when they was putting that stuff on. I was just like, who you think you are now? Lola Falana? Are you hot? You hot now? Are you hot? You flirting in front of everybody in front of me? I was like, keep it up. And they did, and I was out. Tell them come back. Nah. I treat them like crap after that. I mean, I just straight treated them like they cheated on me with some dudes they met at a gas station. I treated them like pure dirt. And what's really crazy is it backfired. They even wanted me more after that. Yeah, identity. Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll get you with the credit card joint. You gotta be careful of that. They get you with that. You gotta watch when you use your credit card at the gas station. Bunch of hair is about $4,000. Dang, these girls stole 30 bundles. They got 20 years and turned on each other. Damn. That hair is expensive. Shoot, man. Remember the couple that they shot and killed? It was a black couple. They were selling hair, and these rumblefish, these chicks, turned on them, shot him, and took all the hair. I remember it was a black man and a black woman, and they killed him just to get to the hair. They just shot and killed him, left him. Oh man. Damn. Go to jail. Go to jail and don't call me while you're in there. Yeah, man. These people asking for it. And here's what I don't get. What makes them think that they're not going to get caught? You're going to get caught. You know why? Because those people down there is hot all the time, and looks is everything. In Miami, looks is everything. Everybody wants to look like the hot chick. And then the hot chick, she got to worry because, people scheming on her. Yeah. Because that's where the money is. Everybody want to be like Kim Kardashian. And she fake. The most popular person on the planet is Kim Kardashian. All these girls want to look like that. And go on Instagram. And try to get that Instagram money. These girls is crazy. Booty everywhere on Instagram. Just throwing caution to the wind. No type of anything left in them. No, they're not leaving nothing to chance. Girls on Periscope stripping naked. Just turned 18. Wilding out. Letting boys jump her 5, 6 at a time. Running trains on her just for the fame. I know somebody who was doing that. Getting ran every day, getting ran. I know a girl who was doing that. I know her personally. She ain't even 19 years old yet. Matter of fact, she just turned 18. She's getting ran on a daily. Instagram. When I say train, I mean Grand Central Station. This girl was Grand Central freaking Station. Everybody. Just craziness. She didn't care because she wanted to be popular. Well, she's popular now. She's popular and she's pregnant. That Instagram, it'll fool you. It's a mess. It'll fool you, man. Everybody on Instagram was not an Instagram model. You're just on Instagram. Stand your ground law. I'm hungry. Damn, I thought I was supposed to get something to eat. I'm gonna watch some Netflix. Then I'm going to bed. Wake up tomorrow. I gotta go to the university. You know one, and she got caught, and she got 8 years of doing one drop. Damn. 8 years. But you know what they get you for? They get you for possession. They get you for illegal distribution. They get you for intent of illegal distribution. Stolen property. Possession of stolen property or receiving stolen property. Then receiving stolen property with the intent to resell or the intent to sell. All that comes in just with having one thing illegal. They're assuming that you're going to resell it. Receiving stolen property, you were cognizant that this right here was stolen property. You can't say you weren't because you've been doing it. So you receive stolen property with the intent to resell, which in also tax evasion. If you're reselling stolen property, you're not paying the tax. There is a law. You need to pay the sales tax. That is a federal crime. It is. It's a federal crime. You can't do that. Yeah, they get you for all kind of, they indict you for all kind of stuff. Just off of one sale, off of one drop, off of one intent to drop, to sell, just off of one. Put you in federal prison in a minute. I know a guy who was in federal prison. They never caught him with anything. But he had 4 chicks running in and out of the country for him. And when those chicks got caught, they all said he was the one who said to do it. They threw him in state prison and had him in there for years until he even saw a court hearing. Federal crime. Oh no, none of them. Oh, none of them was loyal. All 4 of them turned on him. That was like, oh yeah, it was this is his number, this is his address, this is what he looked like. Yeah, this is birth certificate. This is the last time he ate a grilled cheeseburger. Yeah, this is everything you need to know about him right here. Shoot, I can tell you what time he goes to bed. They can tell you what time all the shipments, everything. All 4 of them turned them in. That's it. Turn them in. That's it. Federal crime. Oh, and they ain't loyal at all. Well, that's justice for you. Look, they go like this. Look, either you tell us who's making you do this, or we're taking your children away from you. It was so-and-so, social security number, lives with his mama down on so-and-so street. He there right now. And we'll set you up. We'll set you up right now. Wear a wire or anything. I know somebody who got set up like that. Chick wanted to, she kept coming to his crib talking about can I buy some weed? And then she kept saying certain things that just kind of made him go, why do you keep saying that? He was like, oh, hell no. You trying to set me up. Yeah, set him up. What good is it to snitch? A lesser sentence. In some cases, a lot of money. And in most cases, your life. But if you're a notorious snitch, that's not good on the street. But these chicks were snitching to get lesser charges because they're the ones who were caught with it. So with intent to distribute and all that, possession, hold on, I'll be right back. They're the ones who got caught. So when they got caught, it was pretty much lights out. Because you got caught, so you're going to jail for a while, for a long while. You're going to federal prison. Not to mention, federal prison means that there's some things that you cannot no longer do if you get caught federally doing something wrong. You have rights that are taken away from you. One is the right to vote. Another one is the right to bear arms. You no longer can legally purchase a firearm. And you forget that. There's a couple other ones. And it depends on what you do, because if you rob a bank, then that's a whole nother, federal list that you can no longer do. And everything you do, they'll be watching you. Hold on. My knees hurt. I said I want my knees hurt. I got myself a major sewage problem. Yeah. Coming over to eat the rest of my food. So I had to change chairs too. It makes my back hurt when I try to sit up. It's no back support, but I gotta call the maintenance people tomorrow morning. The sinks are backing up. But yeah, I hope that man gets his justice. I mean, poor kid, man, losing his father right in front of him. So hurtful. I ain't never got to worry about that from me. I ain't never gonna see no money from me. And I don't think you should buy me any food anymore. Not while you got that boyfriend. No. Not if you want to keep him. Because, no. It was good, but I'm not. It was good. Not if you want to keep them. But I appreciate it. Ain't nobody ever done that for me on the internet. So it was good stuff. It was good stuff. And some of the other subs was just like, wow. Yeah, there it is. Some of the other subs was just like, wait, what? That day you were entertaining us all day. Yep, I was. Yeah, I've been on all day today too, pretty much. But yeah, one guy was like, I can't believe she did that. Like I told you. She said she gonna do it, she'll do it. You're like, what? Oh, yeah, she'll do it. He do be hating, but I think he stopped hating now because he's seen you come through. That's why I tell him, I'll be like, chill, man. Like, don't be messing up my pizza, bro. You know, she want to buy me pizza, let her buy me pizza. That's not your woman. Okay. Is that your girl? All right, then stop hating. Let her buy me a pizza. What's up with that? Can I eat? I'm just trying to hate her. I ain't on the brother because I'm getting food up there. He was. I checked him for it. You see me? I checked him like, hey. Like, don't be doing my friend like that. I mean, I don't know her sexual life, but you know, that's on her. It's not none of our business. So don't be calling, because you don't know either. We don't know who's doing what and the where. All we know is people tell us that if we ain't there and we ain't involved in them in that capacity, you don't know. Don't be sitting up here calling somebody up. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that at all. I like chill, dude. Do you know her? You know, you ain't in her life like that. You need to back on up. All that. I'll put him in a timeout if he does it again. How about that? He disrespects you. I don't think he'll disrespect you. I think he got respect for you now because he saw that you were for real. But if he called you names, I'll definitely put him in a timeout. He a cool dude, this, that, you know. You don't know people on the net. Some people are a little out there. He ain't know you, but he respect you now. Like, you gotta respect somebody who say they're gonna do something and then come through. Like, don't sit there and disrespect that. Like, come on, man. Yeah. He was surprised. He was on earlier today. He was surprised. Like, yo, she really did get you that food. I was like, I knew she was when she asked for my address. I was like, oh, she about to feed a brother up in here? I had a woman feed me in gear. I don't know when the last time a woman cooked for me. And I'm not playing. I don't know the last time a woman cooked me a meal. Or bought me one. I can't remember. Oh, a couple years ago. Yeah, well, it's in the past. We know now. That's because I was concentrating on getting that degree. I stopped going out in them streets, worrying about what some goofy chick was doing. I tell you, I really don't care what the world is doing. I do not care. I do not care what the world is doing. Just the same stuff, different day. I really don't. I have no interest in the movement of the world and the stuff that they're into. As long as Planet Fitness don't close anytime soon, I'm all right. I'll be there tomorrow. Then I got to go down to the university tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Last time I was up in a club, I went there to see this chick I used to mess with. I was infatuated with. Because we were doing wrong in the eyes of God. The Lord was like, you got to get up out of here. And he separated us. We shouldn't have been together anyway. And I never went back. Never went back. She broke my heart. I broke my heart because I shouldn't have been messing with her. She was a hoe. But she lied to me to keep me sweet to her. But she was knocking off other dudes in the same day. And I was a stupid because that sugar was good. That sugar was good. I had a sweet tooth. I was living wrong. Probably about 5 or more, 6 years ago, more than that. Probably more than that now. I haven't seen her in 2012. Well, she ran off with somebody else. don't know. I haven't heard from her in years. That's the only reason why I was going. Oh no, I went last year because the young lady I tried to date a year ago, I'd known her for a while and I used to date her before, but all she wanted me to do was buy her drinks, and I got tired of that. She's like, come down to the club. I go down there. She didn't even want to hug me. She hugged me like this and just kept her arms out. I was like, what? I already knew it was going to be like that. I was just like, so eventually I stopped dealing with her. I've known her for a while. I used to date her a long time ago. I told her I can't deal with you anymore because you smoke. You know, she smoked every day, all day. She smoked weed every day, all day long. Every day, all day long. I was like, I got schooled. I was like, get in the car, smoke in the car. I was like, nah, man. Like, I said, I can't do it. You smoke too much. She had some good sugar, though. And I had her sweet, too. But them books was calling my name. And I was more in love with the books than I was with her sugar. She lost to the sugar. Uh, oh. You said Cody's a stripper? You said Cody's a... Poor Curtis. Oh, God. Oh, he can't get the break. Oh, that was too good. Kurt. Don't you ever do me like that. Oh my God. And he found out she was she was a stripper and a prostitute. Oh, sweet Christmas. Oh, on back page. Oh, the airport star. She was a porn star who did gangbangs. Oh, that's just too good. I need to tip you for that. Oh, Nicole. Breast a little bow-legged heart. And there are videos of different men coming in her face. And I was appalled. She told me she was a bartender. Oh my God. Oh, sweet God. She has videos. Oh, I gotta watch one of those videos and talk to him. I gotta watch. Oh, Curtis. Oh, is it your girl? Oh, sweet Curtis. Oh, Curtis, is this your woman? Oh, she was out there getting gangbanged. Oh no, I'm not gonna watch it. Well, shoot, I might. Just so I can love it. Curtis, I feel bad for you, bro. You got 99 problems, and a chick is one. You ended your friend with her because I felt betrayed, and I actually would send her money to keep her phone on. I didn't know I was paying her whole phone bill. Oh yeah. And you know what? She demanded of him. Oh, this is gonna be good. She wasn't a hoe. She was a hoe. She was a hoe. She was a hold on. Hold on. You doing too much. She was a get that hoe out of here. Oh my goodness, you can't do that. Celebrity, oh, she was a filthy piece of trash is what she is. And you know what? She liked being a filthy piece of trash. See, some women and men, especially women, like to be submitted. And when they're submitted, they like to be dominated. And when they're dominated, they associate with that with some type of love. They really do. They associate humiliation and deprecation with some type of, because you're doing this to me and your friends are doing this to me, you have some love for me. She looks terrible. And I'm done watching that. That's what they assume. These women assume this. And then you get some of them that lie and try to say that, oh, their daddy or their uncles ran trains on them when they were 7 or something like that. And come to find out that none of it was true. They were just hoes. They came from good lives. They had great families who loved them and still do. But they ran off with the local drug dealer. And he sold them. And, they got in a situation where they could not get away. And here comes 20 guys and they just run through them and they get lost and turned out. I've seen this happen. Like your family, like nobody touched you when you were a kid. You're just a hoe. Don't blame it on society. You had parents that loved you. So what? Or your dad might not be around or whatever. But you had people that loved you and took care of you. You're just a lying whore. And now you're, running around here looking for somebody to love you when everybody knows what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, you let people run trains on you and thought it was the best thing to do. I don't get that. Then you know what? I was drinking. Then these guys ran a train on me, and I was so drunk they ran a train on me, and the next day it was like, wake up, we ran a train on you. It's like, oh, I didn't know. So she blamed it on the alcohol. Really? There's a document I see where a chick blamed it on the alcohol and eventually blamed it on the guys who did it to her. No, it wasn't the alcohol. You did that. You did that yourself. You consciously went with 3 guys who you did not know, and you did that. I just would love people just take ownership of what they do. Like, yeah, that she looks terrible. She looked terrible. I'm lightweight mad at you for Curtis. Oh my goodness. She is every type of bad news that there could be. Don't go around that girl no more. She looks terrible. Like her body looks like it's been run through some type of machine that's not good for you. She looks, but pray for her. She ain't totally useless. God still loves her. And I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, she can turn around and get out here and get the praise of the Lord in the middle of the street and turn people's lives around. Because, God used to hang out with thugs. Peter was a killer. Mary Magdalene was a straight up hoe. Straight up. Everybody knew she was a hoe. God used to hang out with thugs because he wanted to be protected. Told him to take 2 swords. He's like, turning your cloak for 2 swords. Peter cut the centurion's ear off. They were some hard men. Tax collectors back then. Everybody hated tax collectors. You think they had an easy life? You think they ain't defend themselves? God hung out with some straight up thugs. His disciples were thugs. Like what? Let's go. Then he built his church upon them. Told Peter, upon this rock I'll build my church. He was talking to Peter, who was hung upside down by the Romans when he died. Paul was beheaded because he was a Roman citizen. She says she came from a great home, both parents. Yeah, she came from a great, like, this sounds like some of these teachers that go out here or these psychologists who want to study prostitutes and then becomes a prostitute. And you know what? Once you get around a pimp and you start pimps are like celebrities. It's the same inertia. Because the more girls they have, the more girls want them. I don't know why you women are like that. But you are. Yeah. I don't know why women are like that, but the more women a man has, the more women want him. If a guy walks into the club with a girl on his arms, girls automatically want to get with him, especially if she's beautiful. And I know this for a fact because it's happened to me. But if he walks in by himself, nobody wants to talk to him. But as soon as a beautiful girl walks up to him, like this really happened to me. I thought it was just a lie until it happened. I just happened to know a model, a couple of them. I walked in there by myself. Nobody said anything to me. And I recognized one of the girls because we used to do projects together, modeling and stuff like that. Modeling it wasn't like runway, even though I did that before when I was a lot younger and lighter, weighed about, 60 pounds less. And, but it was a young lady I knew from doing promo. We were promo models. And she was like, hey, Tone, what's up? I was like, hey, how you doing? And another girl I recognized. I was like, what's going on? She was tall, dark-skinned, beautiful girl. And we sat down on the steps, we in a club, and this girl just walks past me and just takes her arms and just rubs it right across my, shoulder, smiles all in my face. I was like, then another girl walks by and I was like, what's going on here? I was like, I think they want you. She's like, nah, they don't want me. They want you. It's like, this is weird. I don't know what's going on. But it's simply because this beautiful girl started talking to me. Other than that, they wouldn't have said nothing to me. So, yeah. I don't know why women are like that. I don't know why women won't pick the guy who's by himself, and just, that guy's available. You go get him. You want the guy who's not available, the most unavailable guy out there. Let's get this guy. He's completely unavailable. He's got 5 women around him. I want that guy. I don't get it. And then why pick the guy who's just a rotten piece of cheese? Like, this guy is a rotten egg if you ever knew it. He can't stand women. Doesn't do none of them right. I want that guy. But you got this guy over here singing to you and playing the guitar, buying you flowers, and just as sweet. Good guy, educated, clean, ain't got no federal record. Nice looking dude, just chilly most. You don't want him, you want the weasel. Who's got a bunch of slags, all up under him. Looking like something that just crawled, out from under 5th Street gutter. That's appetizing? I don't get it. I'm confused on why women chase dudes like that. I'm telling you, I've had this experience. The more women I had, the more women chased me. My phone hasn't rang with the woman trying to take me out or anything in over a year. There's no woman that calls me is trying to take me out, trying to go out with me, nothing. None. But let me go out here and get one of these chicks. It'll ring off the hook. Of course, I'm not interested right now either, but I just don't get it. The same way I like that, but that girl looks hideous. But like I said, pray for her soul, because the Lord can still work with her. Now, I was talking to God. I was like, look, Lord, I can't go out here and work like I used to. My back is killing me. I said, I don't know what good I am. He said, well, you're still some good to me. And I was like, okay, that's what's up. The exact words I heard. And I said, you know what? Okay, fine. That's how I was able to finish my degree, because he was like, you still good to me, so let's do this. I'm like, all right. So every now and then, I go out there and hold my sign, Jesus saves. Okay. Tell people about the Lord. Every now and then somebody will walk up to me and ask me about the word, or they'll just beep their horn, Jesus saves, and wave. I'm like, okay. He helped me out. He said this is what he want me to do, so I go out there and do that. Gotta tell people about the Lord, because hell is real, heaven is real, angels are real, demons are real. It's all real. Everybody think hell is below their feet. Heaven and hell is not below your feet or above in the sky. You know where it's at? Right in front of your face. Because as soon as you die, you're going to end up in one place or the other. That's it. As soon as you die, you're in one place or the other. That's real. This right here is a good potato. What's going on, Red? Yep. So that's another reason why I start messing around. Because I've been chasing girls ever since I knew what a girl was. When I was young, when I was 8 years old, was my first experience with a girl. And it wasn't because I touched her. It was my first experience with having feelings towards a girl. Other than that, I paid no mind. I was a kid. I was interested in Matchbox toys. I had a dog named Rex that bit me, and that's how I got this ring around my eye. Neighborhood dog. But I was really interested in Tonka toys. Tonka toys interest me more than anything. And outside of my family, because my mom was a hell of an artist, so she really fascinated me. Because she could draw and she would sing, and she would do them both at the same time. Then when she put these big puzzles together and she could cook and all that. So my mom was a Renaissance woman that just was just amazing at the abilities, that things she could do, and she could fight. I saw her put her woman's head in a tree before, like, I was like, yeah, my mom is Hulk Hogan up in her. She's like, what? Please. I was like, get down, Mom. Put her head right through a tree. Bam! I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Close quarter combat. Moms. But my fascination when I was a kid, I go outside and play. She was this little neighborhood girl. Lived in the same little whatever I lived in, named Kelly. And little chocolate chip, we just two chocolate kids in the hood. And Kels made it her business to, come and play with me. Just, I think nothing of it. I'm 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? You don't think nothing of it. We're just playing. So we played all the time. And that's when I first started noticing the difference between boys and girls. Like really started noticing, and it wasn't because it was something I did. It was because of what she did. I didn't look at her as anything but another girl, you know what I'm saying? And somebody I like to play with, because we would sit outside, right outside of our apartment, right in Homewood Brushing area in Pittsburgh, in the hood, playing cars and stuff like that and whatnot. And then one day she pulled her pants down in front of me. I was in a state of shock. I had no idea. You want to talk about somebody froze? Deer with the headlights. One is I didn't know why she did it. No idea. And my reaction was priceless, because I was like this. She was staring at me and I was staring at her, and I had no idea what to do. I was like, what am I supposed to do here? We're playing with toys. Can we get back to the toys? But once you see it, you can't get back to the toys. That's it. That was it for me. Never left my mind. That was a long time ago. Can still see her. And she turned around and pulled her pants up, and her mom called her, and that's what saved me, because I wasn't going to do anything because I didn't know what to do. I was 8. But her mom called me, and she pulled her pants up and ran in the house, and she moved shortly after that. And my mom was like, I don't like that girl. And she kept saying it before this incident. And I was like, why? Why don't you like her? She's cool. We just play. And then when she did that, I finally realized what my mom was talking about. My mom knew she was a fast ass, but I was totally oblivious to any of those things. I just loved to play. I loved to run. And she was creative like I was. And we had our own little zone we'd be in with the cars and all this. And then one day she just hit me with the facts. Facts of life right there, broad daylight, right in my face. And it just threw my mouth. It knocked everything off kilter. I was like, what? I was almost upset because I was like, what am I supposed to do? That was it. Never saw her again after that. Her and her mom moved, I never saw her again. That's it. So I have had enough experience with women chased him around the planet. And I have no desire or energy to keep running after someone. I just, no interest in whatever some woman got going on. Not unless they're playing softball. I can watch a good women's softball game now. The pitchers. I like to watch the pitchers. I'll tell you why. Because anybody who could throw a ball at certain miles an hour and whip it underhand like that, that's extraordinary to me. First time I saw that was in high school. It was the prom queen. I didn't really like her. She was skinny. She was cute though. Her name was Jody. She was cute, and I was just like, why is she the prom queen? Because she was hot. She was cute. But I ain't had no respect for anybody who was just cute. I was like, you got to do something to be the prom queen to me. Come to find out she was the pitcher of the softball team. And I went to one of those games. And I saw her turn that arm and go, pow! I was like, hold the phone. That's my prom queen you try. I was like, represent Jody in the, you know what I'm saying? She was hitting fools with that doggone arm. I was like, yes, I love it. Athleticism. Like, yeah, Jody. What up, good? See, throw that dang arm back. Wow. Hey, like, yeah, damn, loke up on him, Jody. All that skinniness, man. She was tall and lanky. And that served to her advantage because when she swung her arm around, got that windmill action and bring it up, all that velocity from the turn, and then the upswing and that step forward, when she let that ball go, it was just like, I was like, get down. I was so interested in the science of that after that. I just would watch like, man, that is fascinating. That's fascinating. Women's softball is fascinating. It made me respect her. Yeah. And the thing about it is, once I saw that, I always looked at her differently from there. She was a white chick too. I always looked at her differently. But I never had a conversation with her in high school. But about 5 years ago, I found her on Facebook. I was like, are you Jody? And she was like, yeah. I was like, you're the prom queen. She's like, that was years ago. I was like, you still my prom queen? I remember you. I told her the story. I said, I didn't really think too much of you until I saw you on the softball field. I was like, I thought the world of you after that, because it was pure skill. It's not something that, you know, this little makeup here and all that. You know, it was, you know, you have to be talented to do that. And I knew that I couldn't throw a ball like that. So I was like, you are talented. And she was like, oh, thanks, you know. I was like, yeah. I never told you that because we didn't run in the same circles. You know, you were, you know, over here and I was, you know, I think the only thing that we had in common is that we went to school together. And I think the prom king played on the football. I think he did. I forgot which one he was though. But he played on, you know, so she would be out there cheerleading, you know. About it. Other than that, I really paid her no mind until that day. I still paid her no mind after that, but when I saw her, I respected her. I was like, She could throw a softball like nobody's business, which is the fast softball. You know, my version of softball is the loop with the lob, come down and then bing. Mm-mm. Her version of softball was throwing a Nolan Ryan 96 mile an hour. I'd say it was probably going about 80 with a curve, an underhand softball with a curve. And the ball is coming up. So when you release the ball, it comes up and it drops into the pocket on a curve. So it's going like this. Spow. I was like, oh, that's so nasty. Just the science behind it just boggles my mind because the ball is this big and it's moving. So I was all off into that after that. I was like, yeah, women's softball. Not to mention women softball, they do splits to get you out. You don't see men doing that in baseball or softball. But women's softball is one of the most aggressive sports I've ever seen in my life. I'm just like, these are chicks, like out here doing a full split, like, you're out. You can't tell me that ain't athletic. You know, because I didn't really think too much of the cheerleaders. I was just like, some of them cheerleaders was on the softball team. You know, one of the cheerleaders was, she played tennis. I was like, tennis. My brother played tennis. I was like, She was ranked in the country. I was like, get busy. I really didn't have no respect for her because, you know, I knew that these other guys was running through her. And I was just like, she's just another chick. Till I found out she was ranked. I was like, what? Oh, skank is ranked. Like that. Athleticism always knocks you up a notch. I think she said one sentence to me in all of high school. It's right after I had an all-star game that put me in the paper. She saw me in the gym, and when we was having a party, and she said, that was a nice game you had today. And it shocked me because we never spoke before, but she didn't know who I was until that game. Well, there was a lot of people who didn't know me until that game because I was in the paper, you know, like not my face, but my accomplishments was in the paper. You know. But it was such a good game, and other people had such great games that somebody else outshined me and actually got his picture in there. But nonetheless, that's when I got scouted by Penn State and Slippery Rock to play D1 and Division I and II. So Penn State is Big Ten. So then Penn State wrote me a letter and invited me to the school. They wanted me to play football for them. But I said no. And Slippery Rock did too. And some of my friends went to Slippery Rock. I don't know if any of them went to Penn State. I don't think so. But some of them did go to Slippery Rock. And but that's how big of a game I had. And she was like, you had a good game. And I just looked at her and I was like, thanks. I just rolled out. Like, that was my one opportunity to, you know, but I had no interest in her. But I respected the fact that she was ranked in the country. Like, I know what you are, but you're ranked in the country. You know what I'm saying? So there was this, like, I don't want to touch you, but you're ranked. And it was just a whole different atmosphere for me just because she was just that damn good on the tennis court. And I was just like, yeah. So every time I saw her, I was like, you know, because it's hard to be ranked where we were. We were in Beaver Falls. Beaver Falls is, matter of fact, we weren't even in Beaver Falls, or part of Beaver Falls now, but we were neighboring Beaver Falls. And so, but our competition was Beaver, who was there were a bunch of rich white people. Kicked our butts every year in football. So you have Beaver, we called them cake eaters because they were those rich people. But next to Art County was Beaver Falls. Beaver Falls had Beaver Falls, and they had Aliquippa, which is a dangerous inner city borough in Pittsburgh. It's one of the most dangerous. You can go up there and not come home. Point blank. They turned out some of the fastest and most talented people in the country. And we had Rochester, which is in our area, who had a kid that ran a 10.29 on gravel. In layman's terms, in 100 yards, when you're running on gravel, you lose part of your step because it's gravel. You have to wear these long spikes. If he had the same turf that there is now, he would have probably ran like a 9.98 or something like that in high school. To give reference to that, there's only one other kid who's ever done that in high school in history. And he runs right now. He was third in the Olympics, Burrell. That's how fast this kid James Law was. Ridiculous. He ran a 46 in the 400. He ran a 10.29 on gravel. He ran the 200 and like 21 something. He was just ridiculously fast. And he was a drinker and a smoker and had no care for his talent. But he was the fastest kid in the country. So that's what I'm saying. So when you got ranked in the country, you were Olympic fast or Olympic talented, that type of thing. One of the kids I played football with, he ended up playing for Penn State. So he played up under Joe Paterno. You know, he was in 10th grade. I was in the 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? His name was Brian, and Brian Chismar. So you can look him up. So, you know, I played with some animals, you know. So for me to get recognized and get 2 letters was like a big deal, you know, but I just brushed them off, and about a year later, I was in the Army. So I chose the military route instead of the sports route. And I knew that I wasn't good enough to play D1, but I could have played 2 and could have got looked at and could have maybe walked on to the NFL and played in the practice squad, but never really got any time. So I had the size. I wasn't necessarily fast as sprinter speed, but I was a defensive end who could run the mile in under 5 minutes. I was running a 4:32 mile in high school. Like it was nothing. Because everywhere I wanted to go, if I couldn't get a ride, I literally ran there. I did. I'd run to the store and run back. I'd run like 3 or 4 miles just to get where I was going, and then I'd run uphill. We had 2 days for practice. I ran to practice, and I ran home. So I was fast at the mile, but I was slow at the sprints. So I would run to football practice, and then run home, and then run right back to football practice. You know, so that's how I got a scholarship at 26 years old, because I ran everywhere. And I would race the bus, and race people, and race cars. I was fast when it came to distance running. You know? But when it came to sprints, I was not fast. And that was another thing that hurts you. But one reason why I didn't want to play any more football is because of the whole concussion things. I was somebody who would hit people head on, and I would spear them. Well, you know, Brian Chismar taught me a lesson about that one day, because I was just like, this guy ain't so great. He was all on the papers. I lined up, you know, to block him. I was just supposed to check block him, and he lowered his shoulder and hit me helmet to helmet, and my whole head was just ringing. And I stood up, and I was dazed while I was standing there. And I never tried that again. Like, I never hit him again. That was it. I don't know if it was the way he hit me, but that helmet did not like help and stop the ringing. So once I got into, 11th, 12th grade, I still played football. And my whole thing was I would just run down and just hit somebody head on. And when I hit the 12th grade, this one kid on our team, we were practicing. And yeah, no, it doesn't feel good. What up, Kev? It doesn't feel good. But the thing about getting your bell rung is, it's lightweight concussion. And when you're younger, you're just like, I'll brush it off. But as you get older, the hits get harder. So in high school, I was still doing that, ringing people's bell and getting my bell rung. But I started noticing the danger of it because that's just the way I knew. And one day I was coming out of the backfield because I was a fullback also. I was coming out of the backfield and I was supposed to block a guy, and he was on my team. We were just scrimmaging. And I dipped my head and he, went the other way. And I looked up and I was like, where'd he go? I expected to hit him. He just moved out the way. He saw me coming. I was bigger than him. And he just waited till I dipped my head and just sidestepped me and went around me. So my spearing days was coming to an end because just that one practice from this guy who was a lot smaller than me, but did not want to get hit by me. And there was another guy who was a bigger guy, but he kept talking crazy to me, like he was a racist too. He ended up being my stepbrother, foster brother. And he just kept talking that Aryan race stuff, and I just kept looking at him like, all right. So I would come out of the backfield, and he would line up to go hit me. And he would try his best to knock me over, and I would ring his bell so hard simply because I knew he was a racist bastard because he was blonde hair, blue eyes. He thought he was just that deal. And I did it every day to him until he finally submitted. And one day he said, hey, can you not hit me in practice so hard today? And I said, sure. So I would just run up to him and I would just grab his shoulder pads and I'd let him go. He cut all that Aryan race stuff out because he knew not only was I bigger than him, but I was far more powerful than he was. And it would take me nothing to put him in a hospital, like nothing. So, and playing defensive end, when I would play defensive end, I would wait. So I would play nose guard. I played nose guards 2 games. The one game I played nose guard, I was in the paper for playing nose guard because I had 8 consecutive tackles, which means I was the first person to the person who had the ball 8 times straight. Well, he wasn't smart enough to get out of the way because his arrogance, it was his arrogance that got him. It was his hubris. That's what really got him. Because if he, and he's like real good at math, but he couldn't let his pride let go that the fact that there are just people who are bigger than you and they come from other races. And I was like, okay, see, he was my height and everything, but he didn't have the strength that I had. And that was just it. I'm slow on the sprints, but once I get moving, I'm, it's going to take a minute to stop me, So I just literally would come out of a 3-point stand, and he knew I was coming at him because it was scrimmage. And it went, and I would just take off and just run at him real low. And about the time I got the eye shot, he would plant his feet and try to come and hit me like this. Yeah, that's your mistake. You're planting your feet to stop a moving target. You know what I mean? So who has all the momentum? I do, because I'm running towards you. You know what I'm saying? So if you really wanted to block me, you would try to figure out another way than to stop someone who's already 210 pounds from hitting you head on if you can't match my power. And that's what the other kid did. He took his place one day and he was like, oh, I'm not doing this. In the first play, I came out in the same way. Just came up, dropped my head, and he just went. And I never made contact with him until I finally got a clue on what he was doing. I said, oh, he just moved out the way, which is fine with me because my position was to block. So the tailback can come, off my left side. So my job was done. I didn't have to make contact with him. But the other guy wanted to, and then there was a guy who was actually bigger than me. He was 6'4" in high school. And one day they jumped me in the locker room. His name was Chuck, another racist. And he was having some issues with me on a football field. We played for the same team. We both played defensive end, just a big hamburger eating guy. And we got into it in the locker room, and I told him I didn't want to fight. And I was naked because I was getting ready to jump in the shower. And he pushed me. And he had clothes on, plus he had another guy with him. And when he pushed me, I just kind of looked at him like, because I was in the shower. You get your whole life changed right there in the shower. You'll break something because the floor is slippery. You cannot fight in the shower against somebody who has contact and you don't. They had shoes on, everything. I would have lost. And I knew it. So he pushed me and I just stepped back and I looked at him. I looked at his other friend and there's another one behind him. I said, okay. I got out of the shower. And as soon as I got out of the shower, I was just like, what's good? As soon as I got off of that floor where I knew I could bust my whole frame, I stepped out and I caught him one time, pow, right in the face. And he fell back and grabbed my arm and I just jumped on top of him. And he was holding my arm with all his might. And I was talking the whole time I was ready to beat his ass. And then he started convulsing. And the next year he tried to do something like the same thing, but it wasn't in the shower. It was just on the field. And what it was is to defend me, he would grab me. And you can't do that in football. You're not supposed to grab me, grab my pads. So I would try to swim move him and get him off of me and go past him so I can finish the play. See, the thing is, when your coaches are looking at you and like, why aren't you performing? It's just like, because this dude is doing an illegal move on me. And I'm telling him, I'm like, Chuck, you can't do that. He's like, I wasn't grabbing you. I was like, all right, well, you can't grab me. Went back to the huddle, run the same play again, come out. Hey, hold on, how to go to run, get grabbed again. I turned around and I said, you can't grab me. I didn't grab you. He stepped to me. I didn't grab you. This is a football move that you can use. And if you get away with it, you get away with it. Somebody steps close to you, their helmet, they're easily controlled by their helmet. It's illegal to grab them as face masking. But what is not illegal to do is grab them up under their pads. And you can lift them up and knock them off balance easily. And this guy was 240. It just took me nothing. As soon as he stepped to me, I just grabbed him up under his pad, grabbed him by his helmet, and his whole body just went down. It was no power whatsoever. Boom! And I was on top of him. I grabbed his helmet, and I was slamming his head in the ground. Because he was the same guy who started with me the year before that. And I knew it was just because of my color. So, coaches broke it up, but they didn't kick me off the team. They told me, fight again, you'll be kicked off. And our coach at that time was some guy who used to play for the Miami Dolphins. So he pretty much, I went to high school at New Brighton High School in Beaver Falls. So, but I was never proud of those fights. But I learned from them. Knots in Pittsburgh. I learned from them because I wasn't a fighter. I just got angry. I got tired of being picked with and called names and stuff. And I was so mad I was crying. I was just looking at the coach like, because after that, another kid on the team who I didn't have any beef with, I ran into him. I just hit him as hard as I could, and he took it. And I was up like this, and he was just looking at me like, cause he's like, are we done? I looked at him, he looked at me, and I was thinking, good one. But I was mad. I was ready to. I was in fight mode. I didn't want to hear nothing. I was ready to fight whoever. I'd have fought the whole team if I could have. But you know, just me hitting that next guy helped me out. And he just took the hit like it was nothing. And he clearly was stronger than me. He was our fullback at that time. He was clearly stronger than I was. I don't know if he was a better fighter, but I wasn't interested in finding out because he was never my enemy. You know, he's a white dude too. All of them were white. The majority of the team was white, but he never, in the whole history of us playing together, said anything to me derogatory. So I had no beef with him. He's just a big chunky dude who could surprisingly run. Yeah, man. Talk to you later. Good to hear from you too, Kev. So, well, just some of the things I went through, but some of those things stick with you. Some of my high school stuff stuck with me. Some of the athletic stuff stuck with me too. I still have it. Like I can still do some of those things, but it just hurts a lot. I still want to go outside and run every day, but it hurts like hell to run. My knees hurt, back hurts. But I can still lift a lot of weight. I can bench 335. Well, last year I did. This year, I could probably put up 320. Yeah. I put up 315 the other day. Just, I know I could probably do 320, 325. So I'm still strong. I just can't run and all that because of my, tendons and stuff like that. So all that athleticism when I was a kid definitely helped me out. Keeps you strong, man. I'll be at the gym tomorrow. Gotta keep going. Never know who's gonna try to jump you. Nowadays, people are going, yeah, well, I gotta go too. But thank you for stopping by, Rad. You guys are great. God loves you.